In the echoing chambers of literary history, where the memories of adventures past mingle with the whisper of future legends, stand timeless characters who have etched their names into our boundless imagination. Who comes to mind? Perhaps it's the boy who lived, emerging from the Great Hall of Hogwarts, his journey marked by bravery, friendship, and the triumph of love over evil. Maybe it's Gandalf the Grey and his unwavering courage lighting the path through Middle-earth's darkest hours. Or perhaps it's my personal favorite, the Son of the Sea who arose in the mid-2000s, none other than Percy Jackson. All characters from extremely successful book franchises, each both alike and different from one another. And most importantly, all of which garnered enough popularity to promote their own film adaptations. Two of these adapted franchises are considered great even despite some inconsistencies from the source material, each bringing their own unique vision to the screen, offering audiences a glimpse into fantastical worlds filled with magic, adventure, and heroism. And one of them is considered one of the worst book-to-big screen adaptations of all time. If you clicked on this video, I'm sure you know which one I'm referring to. The Percy Jackson and the Olympians: The Lightning Thief movie came out on February 12, 2010, and was instantly met with considerable backlash from the fandom due to just how wrong it was. Nearly every aspect of the film was drastically altered from the source material to supposedly appeal to an older audience. And in all honesty, it actually turned out to be a halfway decent action-adventure film with some fun elements of mystery and intrigue. The CGI was pretty good for the time, the fight scenes were engaging, and some of the casting was actually decent, such as Pierce Brosnan for Chiron and Jacob Bell for Luke. The problem was that it severely lacked in writing and character exploration, and just wasn't a good adaptation of the first installment of the award-winning book series by any means. This was the general consensus, and after a subpar outing at the box office, everyone pretty much agreed that 20th Century Studios had no business continuing the series. And then they did it anyway. The Sea of Monsters film came out in 2013, and unlike its predecessor, it had next to no redeeming qualities. Seriously, it's not only downright disrespectful to the source material, but it's hands down one of the worst blockbuster movies that I have ever seen. The CGI, acting, and writing somehow managed to take a step back from the 2010 film, and the plot was filled with so many contrivances enough to make your head spin. This included bringing back the main villain. Yes, the main villain of the entire series, Kronos, killing him within 5 minutes, and still hinting at the next installment. So, as you can imagine, fans despised the very idea of adapting the series any further. After more negativity and even more disappointing box office returns, the executives made the collective decision to discontinue the franchise, and thus, the Percy Jackson films were pronounced dead on March 28, 2014. As someone who grew up on the books, I was kind of upset upon hearing this news. Not because I wasn't getting more, but because of the idea that I may never get to see a faithful adaptation of my favorite kids series. It was a gut punch, a shot through the heart, and a stab in the back. For many years, Percy Jackson on screen felt like just another what could have been scenario. And then, on May 14th, 2020, in the height of a global pandemic, we got the announcement.
After a lot of hard work and a lot of support from you guys, Percy Jackson is coming to Disney+.
After the crushing disappointment of the film adaptations, this was the light at the end of the tunnel. A second chance. Not to mention the involvement of Rick Riordan himself in the development of the series, which generated immense excitement. His active participation reassured fans that his adaptation would be crafted with care and respect for the source material, addressing their concerns about past deviations and inaccuracies. And so, the wait began. Something that I had desired for over half of my life was finally becoming a reality, and in some ways, it didn't feel real. Everyone was talking about it. The hype was immeasurable. And then it came. And then it went, just as fast as it came. And here I am now, writing this review, and to be honest, Percy Jackson TV wasn't all that I had hoped for. Consensus exists, but there are two. Those who believe the series is incoherent and irredeemable, and those who believe the series is absolutely flawless. I stand somewhere in the middle. I can recognize what they did right, as well as acknowledge what areas they surely need to improve on in preparation for Season 2. The journey began with high hopes, fueled by the knowledge that this adaptation was aiming for a greater level of fidelity to the source material than its cinematic predecessors. And in many ways, it succeeded admirably. Season 1 laid a solid foundation, staying truer to the essence of the books and the characters that fans have come to know and love. It was evident that the creators had a genuine respect for the source material, and that commitment shone through in various aspects of the show, the most notable aspect being the casting. And truth be told, they got this one right. Walker Scobell, Aryan Simhadri, and Leah Jeffries absolutely killed it. They embodied the Golden Trio in a way that I didn't think was possible. There was a lot of controversy when Disney Plus originally announced these three to lead the project, marginally due to the fact that they didn't physically resemble their book counterparts. These three quickly put these concerns to rest, and they only got better and better and better on a weekly basis with each new episode that came out. Not to mention the incredible supporting cast, which included standouts like Glynn Turman as Chiron, Toby Stevens as Poseidon, Virginia Cull as Sally, who honestly had some of the best scenes in the entire show. She was pouring her heart out every time she graced the screen and never gave a bad performance. Charlie Bushnell as Luke, Jason Mantzoukas as Mr. D, and of course, Lance Reddick as Zeus, the king of the gods, may he rest in peace. From top to bottom, this was the best aspect of the show without a shadow of a doubt. At no point did I feel like an actor or actress wasn't suited for their respective role. This is a testament to Rick Riordan's incredible knack for characterization in his storytelling. The fact that he was able to get such an amazing group of real people to portray his own imaginary characters made watching them on screen feel very natural. With that said, there were many aspects of this show that unfortunately did not feel natural, which leads into the real reason I'm making this video. Even despite the good, the first season of Percy Jackson was largely a missed opportunity, and I truly believe it boiled down to one fateful problem: the pacing. From the very first episode, I had a bone to pick with the way that the producers were handling the story. They managed to squeeze in Percy visiting the Met and fighting Alecto, him getting kicked out of Yancey Academy, his early conflict with Sally, the two rushing to Camp Half-Blood with Grover, and the fight with the Minotaur, all in just under 35 minutes of screen time. That's nearly 5 chapters worth of material that was covered in just the first episode. Granted, some of the more unnecessary details were cut out in order for the story to flow better, but they still managed to burn through it all at ludicrous speed. And while the rest of the episodes from there on out didn't feel as rushed as the first, by no means did it feel any more natural. Therein lies the first major issue I have with this show. Everything needs to breathe. With an average runtime of just under 40 minutes per episode, which doesn't include the recap and post-credits, there's simply not enough time to delve deeply into the key plot points or develop the characters beyond surface-level interactions. It got to a point where it felt like they were literally speed running through the story to get to the next event. I understand the need to streamline certain aspects of the story for the sake of brevity, but there's a fine line between efficiency and rushing it. This can also be an issue with an 8-episode format, but I don't think it would be nearly as apparent if they were to just make the episodes longer and stretch out the crucial scenes. This resulted in mass exposition dumps by the characters in order to serve the limited time we got on a weekly basis and move it along as fast as humanly possible. And these exposition dumps were no joke. By now, I'm sure we're all familiar with the phrase show, don't tell. It's a fundamental storytelling principle that allows the audience to infer meaning from actions and visuals, which mitigates the writer's need to spell everything out for them. Season 1 of Percy Jackson was all tell. In every single episode, there's at least one instance of a character blatantly explaining the lore of what's currently happening, what has happened in the past, and the stakes that will follow. Every single time, without fail. It is a big problem. There's no opportunity for our favorite trio to figure things out on their own, because the writers made it so that they already know everything they're about to face, no questions asked. I can't even begin to describe how badly this kills the tension. I suppose an argument could be made that characters like Annabeth and Grover would be able to pass off this level of knowledge, being that they're familiar with the mythological world and some of the monsters that are around them. But what's inexcusable is the fact that Percy Jackson, the kid who found out he was a demigod less than a week ago, knows the most out of the entire main cast. I mean it when I say he catches on to everything before everybody, probably even before the viewer. It's as if he's been studying Greek mythology his entire life from the moment of birth, effortlessly connecting the dots before anyone else has even had a chance to catch their breath. In the books, part of the charm and allure is the gradual unraveling of the mysteries surrounding Percy's identity and the world of Greek mythology. We, as readers, are drawn into his own journey of self-discovery, as he experiences the wonder of encountering mythical creatures and uncovering hidden truths about his past. However, in the TV adaptation, this sense of discovery is largely absent.
It's a pleasure to meet you, son of Poseidon. I'm Medusa.
You're Procrustes, son of Poseidon and murderer of travelers.
The mother of monsters.
Echidna.
Someone stole Zeus's bolt. It wasn't me. It must have been somebody who was...
Phonos. Because you knew that Clarice didn't steal the bolt. You did. You worked with Ares to plant it on me. So when the shoes you gave me pulled me down into Tartarus, the bolt would be delivered right to Kronos.
This not only diminishes Percy's relatability as a character, but also robs the audience of the opportunity to empathize with his journey. Instead of allowing us to discover and learn about the world of demigods alongside him, we're constantly bombarded with information in a way that feels all too forced. As a result, the writing detracts from the immersive experience that made the book so beloved. Instead of savoring each moment and allowing the story to unfold organically, we're left feeling like spectators on a whirlwind tour, struggling to keep up with the breakneck speed of the narrative. And as much as it pains me to say it, this was something that the Lightning Thief movie, yes, the movie, actually did better. When you compare the two, it's pretty jarring. The Medusa reveal was more suspenseful, the Lotus Casino sequence blows the show's rendition out of the water, and the Luke reveal brings me to another aspect of the show that leaves much to be desired, and that is, the action sequences were straight up boring. This kind of goes hand in hand with raising the stakes, as next to none of the encounters Percy and the gang face felt particularly engaging and/or dangerous. I want to say they started off strong, as I thought the fight with the Minotaur was pretty decent, even despite the underwhelming encounter with Alecto in the moments prior. Then a very promising capture the flag sequence came in the very next episode, so I figured they were on the right track. Unfortunately, that turned out to be the best one in the entire show, and it was only downhill from there. The rest of the action sequences range from underwhelming to downright disappointing, failing to capture the imagination or draw viewers into the heart-pounding excitement of the battles that took place in the books. The TV encounter with Medusa felt lackluster, the encounter with Echidna was uninspiring, and the encounter with Cerberus really wasn't anything to write home about either. And then came the fight, the highly anticipated showdown between the Son of the Sea and the God of War. This was the fight that had everyone talking when it was teased in the trailer, especially because we never got to see it in live action. It was noticeably absent in the 2010 film, replaced by a pseudo-superhero fight between Percy and Luke grappling for Zeus's Master Bolt among the skies of New York City. And again, the movie did it better. It wasn't accurate at all, but at least it was engaging. In the show, what should have been a 4 to 5 minute epic final battle was diminished to a total of 90 seconds, intertwined with cuts of Luke and Percy training. To say I was disappointed would be an understatement. An entire 7 episodes were spent building to this very pinnacle, and it was over before it even began. The lack of effort put into these key action sequences is indicative of a larger issue with the adaptation's approach to storytelling. By restraining crucial story elements like the action, the creators inadvertently dampen the entertainment value of the series. And when something isn't entertaining, it loses its rewatchability, the very essence of what makes a show memorable and beloved by fans. With a little extra effort and attention to detail, these scenes could have been the highlight of the season, elevating the series to an elite-level adaptation that would have left fans clamoring for more. If future seasons are to succeed, the creators will need to learn from these mistakes and prioritize delivering the excitement that fans crave and deserve. But like I said before, it's not all bad. There is a bright side. Unlike many fans who despised the first season, I refuse to declare that the show didn't have some really great moments along the way, because it certainly did. My personal favorites being the flashbacks of Sally and Percy, which provided a touching glimpse into their past and highlighted the sacrifices she made to protect her supernatural son. These scenes not only added depth to their characters, but also underscored the themes of love, sacrifice, and resilience that run throughout the series. Similarly, the conversation between her and Poseidon was a powerful exploration of the complexities of family and the weight of parental responsibility. As they grappled with the consequences of their choices and the impact it had on Percy's life, we were given a rare insight into the emotional turmoil that lies beneath the surface of her inability to tell the truth and his godly persona. In each and every one of these scenes, I genuinely felt for everyone involved for the first time since I read the books all the way back when I was a kid, something that was desperately needed and valued. I mean, just listen to this conversation.
I want him to know who he is before your family tries to tell him who they want him to be. He is better than that. He has better things in him.
Then I think you have your answer. He's going to go to school, and he's going to learn things that you can't teach him. And it's going to be hard for the both of you. It's going to be torture for the both of you. But he will be stronger for it on the other side.
This is the best scene in the entire show by a country mile. The acting, the writing, the direction, everything here is just top-notch. So I know that Rick and company are more than capable of going partially off script in order to make for some truly amazing television. This absolutely bodes well for the future of the adaptation. Couple that with the impressive world building, the incredible casting, and the legendary source material, and Percy Jackson TV has a lot of untapped potential. With the right balance of faithfulness and creative innovation, it still does have the opportunity to become a truly iconic and beloved adaptation that stands the test of time. Each new season brings the opportunity for growth, improvement, and further exploration of the beloved characters and stories. And if the creators continue to deliver on moments of brilliance and improve upon areas of weakness, there's no telling how far this series can go in captivating the hearts and minds of viewers around the world. Don't count Rick out just yet, because truth be told, Percy Jackson is here to stay. And I'll be damned if he doesn't go down without a fight. I know I initially may have come across as harsh. More than one crucial aspect of the show I touched upon happened to be brought up in a negative light, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Solely for the reason that this series deserves to be viewed through a critical lens. I know, at the end of the day, it is just a kid's series, but Percy Jackson is up there with some of the most iconic entertainment franchises of all time, so it should be held to a higher standard than what we've come to expect, especially from Disney+. Was it overhyped? Maybe a little, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't acknowledge that it could be better. I want nothing more than to love this show, and a piece of me would feel complete if they really went all in. In the end, these critiques are not about tearing it down or nitpicking its flaws, it's about pushing it to be the best it can be, and ultimately, ensuring that it lives up to the legacy of the books that inspired it. With that said, the best way I can describe Season 1 of Disney's Percy Jackson is that it was an uninspired redemption. Uninspired because it didn't quite feel epic enough, yet still a redemption because it was entirely more faithful than the film, even if the film did do some things better. But despite the flaws which are entirely fixable, this adaptation has laid a foundation upon which future seasons can build and improve. By addressing the criticisms and making the necessary adjustments, the adaptation has the potential to reach new heights and captivate audiences in a way that honor the spirit of the books. So just remember, Season 2 is on its way, and my hopes remain high. But above all else, never, ever, ever, ever make me see Percy flossing again.